What's up? This is the first ride on my 04 Crf450r Supermoto build. I bought the bike as a Supermoto, and it had some issues. Not anything crazy, just wasn't where I wanted it. So I took it upon myself to take the bike apart, have the frame, swing arm, and subframe powder coated, and built the motor myself. It's got a forged Wiseco piston, stainless steel valves, and titanium valve springs. Pretty much just did top end work. The bottom end was solid. Looked like it already had a new crank in it, but I was having a leaky valve stem issue, so it was leaking oil into the cylinder, and you can tell because I'll load up a video of me wheeling it before. It was never that smooth. It just feels great. I also rebuilt the front forks and the rear shock, and replaced all the pivot bearings and seals. So it's pretty close to a new bike as of right now. I had the front forks revalved for my weight as well, so it's handling like a dream. As you can see, it's got the 320mm oversized front rotor. It's got the stock size rear rotor, but it is aftermarket. It's supposed to be better cooling, made of a tougher material so it doesn't wear out as quick. So far, I'm liking it. I've got less than an hour on it. Some people say break it in soft, you know, whatever, but I like to think breaking it in hard is the best way to go. You're getting it ready for what it's to, you know, seating the piston rings and getting those valves all situated. So it's ripping already. I've got one little issue. It looked like it was getting water in the front oil sump. So for those of you who don't know, older CRFs, they have dual oil sumps. They have the oil that runs the crank and the top end, and then they have a sump that runs the bottom end, which is the transmission, the clutch, stuff like that. And it was getting oil in the bottom end. I know that for a fact, because when I drained it to replace it after the first 30 minutes of running, it was milky. And I found out what it was the water pump impeller seal. So the seal that blocks off the water pump impeller from the rest of the motor, it was leaking by and getting oil into the bottom end. So I was able to fix that, but it looks like it might be getting it in the top end too, which unfortunately means it's probably one of the O-rings that they use on the dowels on the cylinder head to keep it aligned and to run coolant channels through. And I know what you guys are thinking, you know, hey, if it's getting water in the top end, maybe you shouldn't be doing so many wheelies. Well, I'm not positive that that's what's going on. I just have a hunch. So we're gonna check it out real quick. Yeah, it is. Look how milky that is. Well, looks like this is gonna be a short video. I may have to tear it back down, figure out why it's doing that. I just wanted to get a video uploaded of taking her out for a spin since she's been rebuilt. It's a shame because it's running so good. Well, and before I started the build, I rode it around for a little while, just kind of see how it was going to go. I didn't want to put a bunch of money into a, you know, a piece. And I've always had a coolant leak issue. First it started as the radiator. One of the hoses had rubbed through the radiator, the stock one. And so I bought a set of 33% over capacity TIG welded aluminum radiators. And then it started leaking out of the overflow, so I fixed that issue. And then after the rebuild, it started leaking out of the little weep hole. I got that fixed, but then it was still losing fluid, and that's when I determined it was going into the oil. So this thing is just, I don't know if it's just my CRF, or if it's CRFs everywhere, or if it's just this year model CRF, but this thing does not like to keep its oil under wraps. I don't know why. But all I know is I have to break back into the top end, find out why it's leaking water into the oil, because I can't ride it like that. It probably didn't do any damage right now. But if I continue to ride it, it will. Especially as hard as because it's an MX bike, so to be able to do anything close to highway speeds, it's straining the bike quite a bit. And that's why ultimately I decided to rebuild it, is because at highway speeds you could really tell it was pumping some oil into that cylinder. And also wheelies, you know, I've gotten it to the point, you know, where I can get to balance, so I don't have to rev it as high, but sometimes I just like carrying it out. I don't know, it feels a little bit easier to control that way. But alright, well, that was my first ride on my 04 Crf450r build. Thanks for watching.